Last year there was a study released around, and the study had 4 categories around maltreatment, neglect, physical abuse and sexual abuse. By the time I was 15, I'd experienced all of them. By the time I'd reached 22, I'd gone through so much spiraling into drugs and alcohol, I lost the true essence of who I was and trying to find coping mechanisms to deal with the triggers that had been built from my childhood trauma. So with it not seeing no possible way of my life ever improving, and with an impending prison sentence that's hanging above my head, I figured the only way to stop the noise was to take my life. I was living with a friend, and his partner at the time was on a lot of medication, so I decided then and there I would take a fistful of Tic Tacs, swallow them, and hopefully I'll have a forever sleep. When I woke up in the morning, groggy, confused and angry, I decided to jump in a car. How I was able to drive, I have no idea. I ended up driving to a place where there was an empty house, hooked up the irrigation to the lines, let it all flow, and when I kept waking up, angry and confused, I decided that the only way was to look at the world from the top of a cliff and view the bottom in the fastest way I could. On the way to the top of that mountain, I was pulled over by police. They had ran my car and I had to pull over. During that time, I ended up going to a hospital and spending some time in a hyperbaric chamber to remove all the carbon waste out of my system. Part of my sentence was that I had to see a criminal psychologist, and part of that was finding out what was wrong with me. There was a large part of my life where I had ambiguous loss, where I had always had something psychologically that was present but physically never there, or physically present and psychologically not there. And for my whole life I couldn't figure out what it was. I thought that by ending it all, it would mean that I would find that peace. The part of me that really needed to happen was that I needed to mourn and grieve the old me, and I needed to discover the new me. And to do that, I had to come to terms with what had happened and why it happened to me. And it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with the people and the situation. And the circumstances that unraveled had nothing to do with me, but others' positions and opportunity to take advantage of my vulnerability. Now, for me to become better, I had to understand that I no longer was that vulnerable person, and to no longer be that vulnerable person, I had to fortify myself and reinstate the strength that I had. And so now I've dedicated my life to being stronger and learning more, not just about myself, but others around me as well. Strive, thrive, live the life that you deserve every day, because you're worth it.